Cette vidéo vous est présentée par la boutique universludo.ca. Rendons les jeux accessibles à tous.
Hi everyone, my name is LP and today I will take a look at a game called Galaxies. Galaxies is a marble drafting game for 1 to 4 players. It takes about 20-25 minutes to play a game. It's created by Maxime Tardif and published by Sphere Games. In that game, you will have to draft different marbles of different colors, and marbles represent stars. You will place those marbles on a main board, which is called the multiverse, and eventually you will have to pick some marbles and place them on your own personal board, which is called a galaxy. And you will try to place them in such a way that you will meet certain requirements to score points at the end of the game. It's a very simple game. It's a family gateway type game. It has an aspect of set collecting. It has an aspect of push your luck. So how does it work? How does it look? I will show you that in just a second. First of all, as always, the setup. In this game, the setup is extremely simple. All you have to do is take the central piece, which is this one. It's called the multiverse, and you have to plug in into an electrical source like so. And then it will look like that, which is kind of cool. And finally, each player will have to choose their own personal board, their own personal galaxy. They have to connect their own galaxy to the central board, and it will look like that. Finally, depending on the number of player, you will have to cover some column into the multiverse, on the multiverse. So in the 3-player games, I will cover 2 columns. It will be 3 in 2-player games and only 1 in the 4-player games. And finally, you will give 1 cover piece to each player. They will have to use that during the games. The last part is the marbles. This game comes with a bunch of marbles. You have 5 different colors of them. You throw them all into this bag and you are ready to go. Last thing I want to say is that everything you see right now, keep in mind that you see prototype material. So things may change, the cover may change, the galaxy, the multiverse may change. I don't know what it will look like exactly at the end. You will have a pretty good idea, but things may change. Keep that in mind. So now the gameplay. So how does the game actually works? It's pretty simple. During the games, each player will take turns. The first player is the last person who looked at the stars, and during your turn you have 2 available options. Option 1, which I'll cover right now, is very simple. So the first action you can do, you draw 2 random marbles in the bag and you place them wherever you want on the multiverse. You can place them in the same column, you can place them in different columns. It's really your choice. The only things you have to remember is that if there are no available spot on the multiverse, let's go that very quickly. Let's say we are like that. If it's my turn, I won't have any choice but to take the action number 2 because I don't have 2 spots left to place 2 marbles. So first choice of actions, draw 2 marbles, put them on the multiverse. So what can you do with your second choice of action? And by the way, as you can see, I just disconnected the main board so we can better see the different colors on the camera. So second choice of action is to pick all the marbles from 1 column. Let's say that blue players chooses this action. He chooses action column number 3. He will take all the marbles in that column. He will cover with his own personal piece that column. No one will be able to pick marbles from this column anymore. And he will place the marble on his board. How does the displacement work? So you have, let's make that a little bit closer. So first of all, you can put any color adjacent to the center of your galaxy, this little black spot. So he can put this is white here, he can put his blue here, that's not a problem. The second rule is that you have to be adjacent to a marble of the same color if you want to go further on the last row. So if you want to put his white marble here, it's perfectly okay because it's adjacent to this one, but he could not place his white marble here because it's not adjacent to a white marbles and it's not adjacent to the center. The exception to that rules is the green marble, which are, I think, gas giants. You can place them anywhere you want because they are bad for you, so you don't have to respect the placement rules. And that's pretty much it for the second action. So the next player will have to choose action number 1. He draw 2 marbles and place them anywhere he wants on the main board, or he can pick action number 2. Let's say he does that. He will also cover a part of the main board. He can place his marbles like that because red is adjacent to red, red is adjacent to center, so he's okay. And let's say that's player number 3 also chooses, or let's say he chooses action number 1 to see what will come up here. This come up here, he prefers that. He has to pass because he already placed his cover piece. He has to pass, same thing. So it's back to him again. He chooses action number 2, so you will pick up all the marbles in one spot, cover that spot, place the marble on his personal board. At the end of the round, you have to discard all the marbles that were not picked during the round. You open up the 4 columns again, and then starting with the players who chose action number 2 last, you start another round until the game ends. How does the game end? When one player completely fill up his own personal galaxy. This is the last round of the game, and after that you count the points. Now for the scoring at the end of the game, you have a little reminder in the rules. So here you have 1 point for each star in your galaxy. You have 1 point for each star of the most common color in your galaxy, 5 points per straight line, straight completed line. You score 1 point for each star of your galaxy's colors, 2 points for each colors you have at least 2 stars, and you will lose 1 point for each 2 gas giants you have. So how does this work? Let's make 2 examples. Let's start with this one. So first of all, you score 1 point for each stars. I point out that the green one are gas giants. They are not stars, so they do not count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he has 13 points for that. This one will have 17 points for that part. He completed everything except he has 1 gas giant here. We'll have 1 point for the most common color, so you check what is your most common colors. In this case, it's red. He has 6 points for red. He has 4 points for orange. We'll have 5 points for each straight lines. You can have 3 possible straight lines like that, counting the center, which is kind of a joker. It's a free spot. So you have 1 line, 2 lines, but the 3rd line is not completed because there's a gas giant inside. So this one will have 10 points. This player will have 5 points here, 5 points here, and this line is not completed. There's an empty spot here, and there's a gas giant also here. You have 1 point for each star of your galaxy's colors. This is the blue player, so 3 points. This is the purple one, so 3 points too. And you have 2 points for each colors. You have at least 2 stars of that colors, so 2 points because at least 2 orange, 2 points for the red, 2 points for the blue, 2 points for the white. He has 2 points for each color, so 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Finally, you lose 1 point for each 2 gas giants, so -1 here. He does not lose a point because he doesn't have to. You add up everything, and the most point is the winners. There's a couple of tiebreakers in the game. The first one is the player who has the least gas giants. Then you have the most star of his colors, then the least empty holes, and if it's still a tie after those 3 tiebreakers, it's a tie. So that's pretty much it. So here a very quick shot just to show you how the game can look if you play in the dark. It's one of the objective of the authors to create a game that you can play in the dark. So here how it looks. As you can see, it's pretty colorful. You can the colors are clear. So here it goes. And that's it for the rules of Galaxies. First thing first, the components. The components, I cannot say much about them because everything you saw is prototype. I can say that the marbles themselves, which are the main parts, look very good. They look good on the table. They look good when you play in the dark. They look good when you do not play in the dark. So that's a pretty good thing for the game. Also, the marble bags looks good too. It has great art on it, and it's big enough so you can fit your whole hand when you have to draft marble, which is a good thing. Sometimes in those kind of games, those bags tend to be a little small. For the rest of the components, I cannot say much. Things may change. They are not final, so you'll have to check the Kickstarter page if you want to look at the final version of the components. For the gameplay, Galaxies is a very quick game. It's easy to learn, it's easy to understand, it's easy to teach. You'll be able to play with your friends, with your family, with your children. My 8-year-old son likes the games very much. It has a drafting aspect which is interesting. The most interesting aspect for me is the push your luck aspect, because during your turn you'll have to choose, do I pick that column right away because it has everything I need, but I also see that it has an empty spot on that column, so I can take a chance and draft marbles and maybe add another interesting marble to that column and pick it the next turn, but maybe that column will not be available the next turn. Somebody else will have picked it before me, so I'll have to choose something else and it may not be that interesting. So the push your luck aspect is very interesting. Also, I like the fact that you can change the way you score points from game to game. You can draw different cards. You have a system where you can draw different cards when you play an advanced version of the game. So you'll draw cards, and these cards will show you how you will score your points at the end of the game. So it will change from game to game, so it adds to the replayability of the game, to its longevity. So it's a very good thing. Beside that, this game does not have a ton of strategy. It's a simple game. Like I said, it's a light game, a family game. So if you're looking for a heavy game, it may not be for you, but if you're looking for a light, fun, good looking game, it may be something you'd be interested in. So check that out. And that will be it for me today. I hope you liked the video. You can follow us on Professeur Board Game on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can support us on Patreon. If you want, you can leave a comment below. If you have a question or something else, you can leave a comment below. I will gladly answer all comments. So have a nice day. See ya.